name Yamnaya was given to them by archaeologists and simply means related to pits, because these people buried their dead in pits, sometimes with stairs leading down into them, and usually with an enormous barrow, also known as a kurgan, erected on top of them. And Yamnaya-related peoples, known by geneticists as Western steppe herders, spread across the continent between 5,000 and 4,200 years ago. The debate now centers on the origin of the Yamnaya themselves, since it is widely agreed they did speak at least a late form of Proto-Indo-European. Genetic analysis reveals that Yamnaya people were light-skinned, like Europeans, but were darker than the average Northern European is today. As a group, they are extremely homogeneous, even across vast distances, such that Yamnaya-related peoples in Slovenia share recent ancestors with autosomally similar people of the Afanasyevo culture all the way in the Altai 4,000-odd miles to the east. So they were not prone to mixing. However, their genetic profile can be modeled as a two-way mixture event between indigenous hunter-gatherers from the Volga region, known as Eastern Hunter-Gatherers, or EHG, and another population from the south, who were related to people from the Caucasus, and are thus named Caucasian Hunter-Gatherers, or CHG. Yamnaya inherited the allele associated with blonde hair from their ancient North Eurasian ancestors. They also had genes for blue eyes inherited from Western hunter-gatherers. A quarter of Yamnaya people tested had the genes for lactase persistence, which would make them lactose tolerant in adulthood. These genes became much more common over the Bronze Age through a process of selection which also resulted in lighter skin and hair. But over the course of the Bronze Age, Yamnaya descended peoples underwent selection pressure that favored lighter skin and higher rates of blonde hair and blue eyes, meaning that these dormant genes were more commonly expressed by the late Bronze Age, even though they had been present long before. This is why Europeans with lighter skin and blonde hair are likely to have more Yamnaya DNA than darker Europeans, even though the Yamnaya themselves were less fair. But where did the CHG signal in Yamnaya people come from? These genes became much more common over the Bronze Age through a process of selection which also resulted in lighter skin and hair. But where did the CHG signal in Yamnaya people come from?